Hello, everybody. Brandon Griffin here, aka the Realty Resource, and this is another everything relevant to real estate, really early from the Realty Resource, aka the Rooster. We'll get going here pretty quick. Please do like, follow, subscribe. We do this every single week, and this is all the most relevant stuff bubbling to the top. And then we followed up with a live at lunch every single Friday. Today we're going to have John Cole and Dan Fortune, the other managing members of the Impact Group, to talk a little bit about the real estate market, which is our first topic. So the real estate markets are still chugging along. Despite showing restrictions here in Colorado, complete and total showing restrictions, we can't do them anymore because we've leveraged technology. We really have been able to continue to transact. And yes, pending sales under contracts are down, and our withdrawn activity is through the roof at the moment. But that further limiting of the supply from the seller's market that we were already in is kind of keeping prices on an even keel. We're going to talk a lot more about this at lunch today, so I don't want to get too far into it, but just know that if you're going to transact right now, you can. It requires a great degree of flexibility. There are no iBuyers anymore, no really easy options. So professionals are making the changes that are necessary to make it possible. There's opportunity out there if you're buying and if you're selling. It's not one-sided. You just need to do it right. So yeah, we'll talk more about that. Related, the rising borrowing standards are affecting supply and demand. So this might actually seriously start to affect prices. JP Morgan Chase just said that their conventional products are now subject to a minimum 20% down payment and 700 FICO score. So the average down payment right now is about 10%. So this could really affect our demand side of things. It's a 50% potentially reduction in demand. And if other big banks follow, that's where we run into some really big issues that we'll continue to follow and talk about. There are still options out there. Shop lenders right now. This is the time because not all lenders can offer all products like they might have used to have been able to. So the initial plan to return back to business from Governor Jared Polis came out, and basically we're working back in waves, just in the same way we kind of got into this in waves slowly. That is going to kind of slow the return of consumer confidence, and I think returning to what's going to be a completely different normal. It's going to be a long process, 12 to 8 months. I don't think it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. There's going to be more virtual options in this world that we return to, but some things won't return to normal, quite frankly, until we have a vaccine. Think about bars, clubs, places where people are packed together, sporting events. So that could really affect stuff. And that has ripple effects throughout, the economy and the housing market. Denver City Council did put out a moratorium on rent, which they don't actually technically have the legal authority. We did check in with a city council member. They have no legal authority to actually alter private contracts. They're just doing everything that they can do from the ways that they were involved in evictions to help everybody out by easing that. So they're not enforcing evictions, even down to the utility companies. They're not allowing utility companies to shut off the services when people can't pay. But it doesn't mean that they can actually specifically come between, a landlord and a renter, a tenant, and say, you don't have to pay this person anymore. Because this again goes back to this bigger issue. There's chains. If we can't pay our rent or our mortgages, the people that we pay can't pay the people that they pay, can't pay the people that they pay, and that's where things can get really bad. And that's the stuff that I'm really paying attention to. So I'll continue to do quick tips, and we'll talk about it weekly as things change. Next up, we've got unemployment claims, another 5 million people, unfortunately, which brings it to about 22 million. So this is, these are setting some records now and getting to the worst side of the projections. I've been talking about, different projections from different people or entities, and now we're getting closer to that 25%, 30%. So Colorado, at least, is the 7th least impacted at 7.3%, which is great. I mean, that means our local economy is probably going to pop back a little bit quicker than the nation will. SBA is out of money. As of Thursday this week, they ran out of their $350 billion in a 2-week span that was supposed to help small business owners. They had the Paycheck Protection Program, the economic disaster loans. I mentioned how to apply to those in the last couple of weeks, so hopefully you were watching this and you got those links. You went there and you applied and were approved. if you were approved, there's an article that I've linked today about how to know if your loan is going to be forgiven. Basically, if it's a grant or if it's something that you'll have to repay. So check that out. Many of these loans that are being made to keep employees, if the employees are kept, you get that money basically forgiven. So it's I think it's one of the reasons we ran out so quick. Looks like they might be dumping more money into the program again, but we're not sure. That's all stipulation, and I'll keep you informed as we go. Also, the gig worker, the 1099 and non-traditional W-2 unemployment benefits are just now starting to roll out. They're saying in the next maybe couple days. So I'll keep track of that as well. All right, 4% of mortgages are now in forbearance, and that is something that I've been covering over and over and over again. I just did a quick tip, which I can link to in the whatever, I'll link it. But you really need to know exactly how that looks and how to apply and what it means down the line. So that's why I've taken some time to focus on that. But here's the thing: is that's going to dampen the short-term effects on the inventory and the home prices right now, as people basically don't have to make their payments and don't have to give up their homes. But at the end of these programs, when they get into loan modifications that maybe don't make sense, or they're not offered loan modifications, that's when we're going to see some really dramatic changes and swings in the supply and demand. So again, housing prices could really change 3, 6, 9 months, 12 months down the road. So this all comes back to the liquidity crisis that I've been alluding to, but we'll get more into detail on that later. Finally, the first short-term rentals right now, Airbnb, VRBO, they are hurting because their income was generated by something that's now gone, and they've got these mortgages. So a lot of those folks are looking for long-term renters. If you happen to have an Airbnb, or you were an investor in that short-term area and you're trying to figure out what to do at the moment, please reach out and I'll try to help you to the best that I can. But for those that can't find longer-term tenants where there's eviction issues, it's likely that a lot of those people are going to sell. So I think if the first wave of inventory that hits our market is probably going to be those that had Airbnbs and homes that were being rented out. So we'll keep you updated. Again, Live at Lunch today features 2 top producing agents, and we're going to talk just about what we've actually been seeing in the marketplace. And it might not be exactly what you expected with a complete stop in all showings. So yeah, please show up for that. Please like, subscribe, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.